Well, the summer of 1980, I was over at my best friend's house, and another one of our friends, whom we went to school with, pulls up in a car. So let's go on out. We're like, hell yeah. Because ain't none of us old enough to drive yet. Nope, we were all 14 years old. But see, his father, who was a severe alcoholic, well, his father had passed out for the night, and we'll call him Fred. Old Fred decided he's going to snitch the keys and take the 69 Cutlass out and pick his buddies up, and we're going to go out and have a good time. And, well, that's what we did. He had a pile of phone books he was sitting on. Couldn't barely reach the pedals, had the seat all the way up. We weren't quite 6 foot tall at the time, being 14 years old. We cruise around Tulsa a little bit. We decide we're going to all go to see a Richard Pryor movie. I can't tell you which one. It was just a stand-up comedy movie. We was worried we weren't going to get in because it was rated R. But hey, man, if we're old enough to drive, we're old enough to get in the movie, right? We got in. They didn't ID you for a movie back in them days. They just figured you was old enough and they didn't care. So we go in, we watch this movie. We think it's the coolest thing there is, off by ourselves for the one of the first times driving. There was four of us. Trying to think of who the other person was, but I can't think of who the fourth person was, but it was just another friend we had. Yeah, went and picked him up too. So the car was just filled with crap because who knows how many empty booze bottles were in that car. We didn't even think of something like that back then. We weren't drinking. We were just 14. After the movie, we decided, well, we're going to drive about 30 miles away to the lake. What we're going to do. We're going to go to the lake. We get there. My best friend claims he's drove before. Sure couldn't tell by the way he drove. No, he slammed on them brakes and missed so many turns. He was one of them guys that, could never do wrong. He didn't miss the turn. He wanted to see what was up ahead. One of them guys. So we get to the lake and we're down some sort of gravel road, and somebody gets the bright idea. Hey, I've never drove. Let's take turns driving. Everybody gets their turn. Obviously, two of them's already driven, so that just leaves me and the other guy. Yep. My turn comes up. I've never drove before. Get the seat adjusted. I get behind the wheel, and I know, by 14, I know I got to press, but I know what the gas pedal is. I know what the brakes are, and I know how to steer because, well, I drove the bumper cars at the amusement park countless times. So I knew what I was doing. A stop sign's coming up, and here I am. I haven't hit the brakes yet, so I don't know how hard it is. I don't know how the brakes feel. So what do? I slam on the brakes. Both the dudes in the back room, in the back seat, come flying up, and they didn't want me to drive anymore after that. That was my first driving experience. After that, I tell everybody I had experience driving. I knew it all. I didn't need driver's ed. And it was nighttime. I had nighttime driving experience to boot. Man, that's good on the resume right there, a 14-year-old. Somehow, we got through that evening. I can't even tell you what we did the rest of the night, but I think my driving, each of us driving scared the hell out of each of us. And the best driver, well, he was the guy that stole the car from his father because, well, he drove a lot because his father would pass out and he'd have to drive from the time he was probably 12 years old. Several times he would pick us up and his father would be driving, drunker than Cooter Brown, but nobody seemed to care back then. Wasn't that big of an offense. He'd take us to the bowling alley because he could drink there. We would have fun there too, bowling. He'd tell us, if you get a strike, I'll give you a $5 bill. And sure enough, if you got a strike, he'd have a $5 bill to give us. We might make up to $15, $20 when he came to town and picked us up and took us bowling. Other times he'd just pick us up and take us out to eat and pay for it with his son. And he'd sit out in the car with his bottle of whiskey or whatever it was he drank. We'd wake him up when we were done and off we'd go. He'd drop us all off and another one, another survive trip. When I think of this stuff now, man, but it wasn't that unusual back then. People were driving around with their kids, drinking, wasn't a big deal. Now I think about that, that's kind of a big deal. Man, you go right to jail, you ain't getting out for a while. But back then, wasn't that big of a deal. Not that my parents did that, they didn't, but there were other people when I was younger that were driving that shouldn't have probably been driving. I'm sure all older people have that experience. I also remember the first time I ever drank. My best friend's oldest brother bought it for us. He was old enough you only had to be 18 to buy liquor back then. He bought us each a small half pint or pint of sloe gin. I don't know why we chose sloe gin. It just looked good. It was red and sweet tasting. We're all over at one friend's house. We don't drive or anything. We're too young. And we just started sipping on that sloe gin. We each had our own bottle. I remember it was summer because the tennis matches were on and the movie Grease would just come out. And we're sipping on this and sipping on this. And man, it's starting to feel pretty good. But after a while, I ain't feeling so good. And they ain't either. We go out to the back porch and, let's just say there's 3 or 4 piles of red stuff that we expelled from the sloe gin. Never drank it again, never tasted it, never wanted to smell it. But you learn. You learn to drink something else, apparently, because we didn't learn about alcohol. A lot of things we've done when we were younger that we can laugh about now, but could have ended up really, really bad, especially taking that car out and driving it. Fortunately, we didn't stay in the city that long, and we actually did cruise around a little bit. But we got out of town. We went to the lake, which it could have probably actually been worse because there's no lights on the roads and backcountry roads. We could have ended up in the lake for all I know. But somehow we made it through that escapade and many other ones. I could tell you so many stories. Half of them I don't even remember. They just come to me. I had a dream about this the other day. Otherwise, I probably would have never remembered this. What other incidents? I mean, just stupid things we do as kids. We don't think. We see adults doing it and we think it's cool. Smoking, drinking, driving, all these things we see adults doing, and we want to become adults immediately. We want to be grown up immediately. Then when you get grown up, you just want to be young again. Doesn't make any sense, does it? Well, I'll try to come up with some more goofy stories like this, but that's one that's true, and I'll always remember it. Well, when I have a dream that reminds me of it, I guess. Happy trails.